tearing out pieces of me to replace the broken pieces of you. Tearing out.
Hello, wealthy family, and welcome to today's Mindset Monday. Thank you so much for coming and sharing some time with me. I love and appreciate you all. I'm sorry about my Thursday video. When I went on Saturday, because people were commenting on my Monday video, and I was like, why are people commenting on my Monday video and not my Thursday video? I realized my Thursday video never posted. And I don't know what's up with Apple, but when I record from my iPhone, it takes like 3-4 hours, and I have to keep going back and looking and double checking. When I do it for my Android, no issue, like 20 minutes it's up. So I don't know what's going on with that. I apologize. I will make sure that seasonal depression video is up on Tuesday. I just didn't have the time to try to go back and uh, try to get it re-uploaded. Okay, so I apologize for that. I did not leave you all on the alert, so you'll be getting 3 videos from me this week. All right. So today, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. I wanted to talk about a few other things first, and then I had to kind of, work up the nerve because sexual assault is a very, very touchy subject, and I I have experienced sexual assault. I'm going to talk about that today. So if young ones are watching, or if you are triggered easily, if this is a subject you're not ready to hear about, if you're not ready to hear the brighter, wider spectrum of things, this is not the video for you. Okay. So just to be clear, I was never raped, but I was sexually assaulted. And sexual assaults can happen to anyone, any age, at any time. It is never your fault. Whatever it is that happens to you, it is never your fault. However, it did happen to you for a reason. It is meant for you to learn and grow from it. Because sexual assault, no matter what variation, no matter to what degree, no matter to what length it happened or how long it happens, it is always, it is like any other experience in your life. It is meant for you to take the information, take the experience, digest it, learn from it, and grow from it. Nothing happens to you without a reason. Okay? So, when I was younger, when I was in middle school to be specific, um, growing up, I was raised in Miami-Dade. I lived in Miami-Dade, but I went to school in Broward because the schools around me in Miami-Dade was trash. In Broward, I was in regular classes. Then I quickly got bumped up to gifted classes, in which is, a little bit higher than advanced placement. Um, in elementary school, they were like, yeah, no, she needs to get this. So I was in gifted for a while. Now, I was raised as a Jehovah Witness, so I was very sheltered. So not only was I going to a different a school in a different county, which those schools now were predominantly white, and gifted classes with predominantly white people, raised as a Jehovah Witness, okay, but I was also raised by a single mom who was also very naive, okay. So my extent of naivete, I can't get the correct conjunction of the word, not conjunction, but context of the word, like the different context when you say it differently. I'm sorry. I'm kind of nervous. This is the first time I'm talking about this out loud. I mean, I've spoken about it before for healing purposes, but never really telling people. So, anyway, my level of naiveness was deep. Okay, just get it like that. And yes, I had siblings. I have many siblings from my father, but between my mother and father, they had 4 together. But we have a vast age difference. Not as vast as my children, right? Not 18 years apart, but my 2 older brothers were born in the 70s. My older sister was born in the early 80s, and I was born in the mid 80s. friends. Okay, so they were going on and doing their thing. We were never really in school together or anything of that nature. Around middle school, so much was happening in my life. Um, I came into knowledge of other siblings from my father, and I learned about how my mother and father broke up and all types of stuff. Anyway, in the seventh grade, like all hell hit the fan. I had never been suspended from school before. Like I told you, I was gifted, honor roll, I was doing everything. I was good. But I started getting in a lot of fights. I had a lot of male friends, and a lot of the females didn't like that. And it's still that to this way, like to this day. I get along more with masculine energy for whatever reason. So I had a lot of male friends. A lot of females didn't like that. They'd be like, "Oh, you trying to, mess with my man?" Because I was always pretty. I was a dancer. I was in good shape. You know, but I was not, giving up anything. I never had to give up the goods to get what I want, right? So let's say like my second, or maybe it was my third. I think it was like my third suspension, but it was like my first outdoor suspension of that year, because normally I would get indoor, like those two suspensions that year in seventh grade. It was outdoor, and I could not tell my mom. Um, I was scared. So I was going to school, but going to school but leaving. So the first day of my suspension, went to school, went home. I had a guy friend who also was suspended, and he was like, "Okay, I got you. I'll hang out with you." So he came to my house. We watched movies. At the time, I lived in a house with a bar. Like we really had a bar, like a leatherback bar. It was so cute in the back of our place. And we were playing whatever. Anyway, day two, I couldn't do that because my older sister was home. So he was like, "Okay, you can come hang out with me at my friend's house." I was like, "Cool." So we went to the friend's house and walked in, and it was like 6 or 7 niggas, and I say niggas because they was old and ignorant. Um, and my sensor should have went off, but again, naive. So I'm just like, whatever, okay, cool. I'm friends with guys all the time, and we cool. There's no issues. So we're there, we're in the room playing video games, watching movies, whatever. It started getting closer and closer and closer. Then my guy friend was like, "Oh, I'm finna go get something to drink," and they was like, "Oh, ain't nothing here. You gotta go to the corner store." So he's like, "All right, bet I'm gonna go to the corner store. You want anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, bring back some Skittles and something to drink." And he left, and that's when they all attacked, like got on me, tried to gang rape me, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" Um, so how much do I want to share? Okay, so there was like two on top of me. They managed to get my pants down. They tried to force themselves on me, but I started bleeding because I'm a virgin. I guess the one that was like more advanced, he was, scared. I guess he thought maybe it was my menses, my period, and which is your menses, and he was like, "Oh wait," like he kind of pumped his brakes, but one of the other guys was like, "Man, go!" And I was like, "Oh, go? Yeah, hold on, wait, what happened? Let me get up," because I just heard something in my brain that was just like, "Run, get up and go, get up." And I was like, "I'm bleeding? Hold on. Why is that? Hold on, hold on, guys. Let me go check myself. Let me run to the bathroom real quick." And, I didn't have any bags or anything. So I just, grabbed my pants and went to the bathroom. But I really went out the door. And like I said, I had recently found out I had half siblings, and they didn't live too far from where I was. So I hauled ass. Ran to the house. I was like, I can't tell them what just happened. But thankfully, it was just my half sister there. She was too engrossed in her own shit to kind of question me. She saw I was kind of frazzled. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Oh, I ran here." She's like, "Why'd you run here?" I was like, "Girl, I was just trying to get here. Like, can I use the bathroom?" And she's like, "Okay, cool." So I got in the bathroom, cleaned up. Had, some bruising on my arms, but whatever. My shirt covered that. And I went to my aunt's house and went in my room, lay down, and was just like, okay, right? A couple hours later, my aunt comes in the room with my mom, and they have a letter. And I'm like, "Okay, what's this?" And they're like, "Yeah, you've been suspended from school. Tomorrow's your last day of suspension." And I'm like, "Holy shit." Because back then, the school would send letters home. So now, having been through all this, it was a horrible day. Loki, hush. Um, Horrible day. So I never told them what it is that happened because I was like, they not finna get it. Whatever, they mad at me on top of that. So I felt like I never really could confide, and I was like, well, I don't think anything really happened. But in my mind, I'm thinking, did I just lose my virginity? Did I just get assaulted? What is it that happened? Are they gonna do it again? Are they gonna find me? What about my guy friend? So next day I go back to school, finish out on suspension. The guy friend act like he didn't know anything, of course, and tried to gaslight me. From then on, I was like, I can't walk with you. I can't hang out with you. But then he started spreading rumors about me, even worse at the school. I started getting in more fights. Anyway, the last thing that happened, I got in a fight. Somebody ended up in the hospital, and I got expelled from all schools in that county. So now I have to go to school in Dade County. And now the blinders are being ripped off because the school that I ended up going to, I mean, it's completely different from any schools I've gone to before. So, um, with that being said, right, I'm not going to drip too much into that. But that experience sat with me with a long time because, again, as I said, I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and you were taught that you shouldn't have sex, you shouldn't even date anybody until you're ready to get married, okay? And I didn't want to stain or tarnish my name. There were, people that I liked in the Kingdom Hall. I didn't want them to think less of me, and I couldn't really process it. And my first sexual experience, my first real sexual experience at 16, um, as a sophomore in high school. So not too long after that, about 3 years, 2.5 years, I got pregnant with my first son, who's here now. Um, so even that was kind of crazy and kooky and oh my god. But I did not know how to express my sexual appetite, and I didn't know how to release that trauma because I'm like, what if that happens again? Like, I went years thinking about that. Even my ex-husband, like, I used to say certain things and he never really picked up on it, but that's because he wasn't really trying to be in tune with me. And as I got older and had some more time to myself, I had to realize there's some things that you need to excise, that you need to excise, get rid of, right? Like the exorcist. And as I came more into my spirituality, I started talking about it a little bit more. And, I understood that, no, I was sexually assaulted. I was like, oh, that's what that was. I didn't realize, right? I didn't realize at the time, I didn't think that that could fit into the category of sexual assault. So, how I healed from it, how I digested it and let go of the trauma and gave myself permission to be the free sexual being that I desire to be, how to fulfill those needs. Because although that happened to me and I was traumatized, I still had a sexual drive, right? So now I'm thinking, is there something wrong with me? So, one, there is nothing wrong with you. Although you have certain feelings and this certain thing happened to you, that doesn't mean that you now have something wrong with you because maybe you got turned on by the experience. Maybe sometimes you think about it and you have your body has this reaction. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you. It's okay if that happens to you because it's just a physical response. Do not sit here and blame yourself and say, why is it that these certain things get me going? Even if you fantasize about it sometimes, that's okay. We all have our thought processes, kinks, fetishes, excuse me, and things that trigger us and get us into a certain point. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So, there's nothing wrong with you. Two, as I stated before, it's not your fault. It wasn't my fault that I was naive, and it wasn't my fault that I allowed myself to get put into a predicament and a situation for that to happen. It's not your fault. Whenever you are attacked, the attacker, the aggressor, there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with them. It's not you. So don't sit here and allow yourself to keep falling into victimhood over and over again because you feel that it's your fault that you did something different. Now you have to change the way you dress, change the way you walk, change the way you talk, change the way you behave. No, you don't. You were just found at a time when your power was lessened and you were a little bit more vulnerable. But don't allow that to change you and stop you from evolving. Do not get stuck in that situation. 3, you have to release this energy. You have to talk to someone. You have to tell someone what is happening. Even though it wasn't full throttle for me, all those years that I held on to it, I realized that I was trying to say something, right? And even throughout the years when I found myself in certain predicaments again, like I did some things when I was younger that I'm like, man, I did that just because I was acting out like I was, acting out my trauma. But once I spoke about it, I released that, right? I no longer felt like I was an object or um, that there was something inside of me that didn't belong. So you have to talk to someone. You have to let it go. Talk about the details if you need to. Don't give the details. Talk about your feelings or your emotions. But whatever it is that you do, you have to expel that energy from your body verbally. It has to be verbal. Okay? You have to give that breath, give that energy, breath, life, and expel it. That's what the talking is. Getting that energy up out of you. Okay? 4, I journaled about it. I wrote about it, burnt it, then I meditated about it. And I went back to that situation in my meditation. And I did that with a lot of things that I needed healing from in my life, including my abusive marriage and the abuse from my mom, because punishment was abuse. Um, so I meditated about it, went back to the situation, and told them niggas what I wanted to tell them. What I wish I could have told them. I mean, I don't remember their faces and their names, of course, but, just going back to the situation because I've relived it so many times. Said what I wanted to say in that situation, transmuted that energy, and then stopped replaying it. That kind of goes hand in hand. You have to stop replaying and reliving that situation and going back there. Because every single time you do that, you're giving it life. You're giving that seed inside of you the fertilizer that it needs to grow and fester and give you all the conundrums that you don't want. Okay? So stop reliving it. Go back to it in meditation if need be. Release that energy. Feel it, let it go. Okay? And then lastly, the last thing that I did, I reclaimed my energy back from that space. I had to do a lot of womb healing. Guys, if it's happened to you, of course you don't have a womb, but your prostate holds that same energy. Okay? So prostate healing or womb healing, talking and connecting with that energy center. That's part of your sacral chakra. There's different things that you can do. You have to do what's right for you, but do a lot of, reproductive organ healing, talking, excising. I have to keep saying that over and over again. You have to excise that energy. You have to transmute it. Me and my Yanni have been through a lot. Me and my womb have been through a lot. And I really had to talk to her and get that energy from her. How is it that you feel? Because don't think that your body doesn't have feelings and emotions, and don't think that the different parts of your body don't hold emotions and trauma. That's why your heart will attack you. That's why your lungs will break down. That's why your kidney will fail you, because there's certain trauma in them that need to be excised. So do some sacral chakra healing with your reproductive organs. A great time to do that is full moons. Full moon, sitting out in the full moon, or even in the rain. Sitting out in the rain. Maybe not if you're in this hemisphere of the world where it's cold, but getting out into the full moon, howling, screaming, crying, that all helps. Okay? So, I hope this video was helpful for you. It is a mental process that you have to go through. That's why I said you don't have to think it's your fault. It's not your fault. And stop replaying it in your mind, because your mind will play tricks on you. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I'm grateful for every single person, regardless of how old you are, where you are in life. If you have survived, no matter what you had to do to survive, if you survived sexual assault, you have already won. Okay, wealthy family, that's all that I have for you today. I love and appreciate you all. And until we connect again, stay alert, stay aware, and live in love. Peace.